Everyone, my name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor and also internal family systems therapist. Today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 2, Runaway Groom. Well, here at this channel, we do a quick therapeutic review using the internal family systems model to help us to kind of see what's going on internally for these couples and how parts of us really work to protect us, and especially when we're in situations where we are giving of ourselves. We're being very vulnerable, and these couples are being very vulnerable, getting married at first sight and trying to build a relationship on national television. So it gives us a great tool to learn a little bit about what's happening with those couples, and of course to learn a little bit about us. If you are new to this channel, then welcome. If you are returning, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into it. Now, we open up with Shaquille and Kirsten, their wedding, as it kind of ended before she was going to walk down the aisle. We see that the interaction at first with them at the altar was a bit, it seemed a little awkward. She said, "Do you want to say anything?" And he responded with, "You're just very attractive." He made some humorous comments about how God did a good job making her. You can tell she has this part of her that is aware that she wears her emotions and her feelings on her face. And so it was working hard to restrict her face. You could tell that there was something that wasn't working well. Of course, we know it was later on, it's the bald head that she talked about before she got married, and then she talked about it afterwards as well. And she also said that she wanted a low-cut beard, and his beard is not low-cut. This is kind of leaning to the part of her that's saying she's very picky, right? So she's very picky, and she is very vocal about the things that she doesn't like. And so she has a part of her too that works to kind of reel that in. So at the end of the ceremony, Shaquille leans in to kiss her. She gives him the cheek. Now, he said that he respected the fact that she gave him the cheek because there's a part of him that said, "Oh, she has boundaries and she's different. I like that." And at the after party, even though Gina and Nicole gave her a hard time for giving Shaquille the cheek, she did say that he didn't ask her. And so she said she may have gave him a kiss if he asked. But they are kind of getting to know each other. She still has, right, this part of her that you can tell it's restricting her facial expressions, even her body language. And she's being very measured with what she says. And so they're getting to know each other. On the other hand, Shaquille is all in. He's very excited about her. And he has a part of him that is wanting her to like him, right? Of course, they just got married. That would be hurtful and sad if he didn't like her. So he has this part of him that is trying to get Kirsten to like him, and it's coming off kind of childlike. So he said that, "Oh, I make bow ties," and, "Oh, I was in a car accident." It's almost as if these are great things for Kirsten to know about Shaquille, and at the same time, the energy in where it's coming from, it feels like a kid who you come over, you visit a kid, and they come out from their room and they do a cartwheel, look what I could do. That's kind of the energy that was coming from Shaquille. And so I'm curious if Shaquille was picking up that measured energy from Kirsten and was trying to say, "Hey, like me, I'm nice, like me." She did say that his personality was very nice and that it was outshining some of his physical features that she did not like. I am concerned about her picky nature. Shaquille is kind of a very big energy, especially knowing that he's from Louisiana. Like, Louisiana is just a completely different, even though it is in the United States of America, it's almost like a country in its own. They have their own energy, their own language, their own rhythm, and it's big. It's really big. And so I'm curious how that's going to vibe with Kirsten's. She has like this measured, right, that she's showing up, but also she has like a lot of structure and rules and things that she needs. And she's still very concerned about the size of his member, as she said again, with at the after party. And so I'm really concerned about her picky, the part of her that's very picky. And I'm curious too what that's protecting her from. It seems like this part of her may be protecting her from being in relationships that aren't serving her. So she has this part of her that makes sure she knows what she wants and that she gets what she wants. She did state that the last relationship that she was in was 4 years and that the gentleman was cheating on her. So we shall see. We shall see. But Shaquille is very, very excited about her. And hopefully, we'll see if she's able to talk to that picky part of her to find some balance, right? To find some balance to a real person, right? Because sometimes when we get to a space where we're getting so picky in particular, that leaves room for no one. And also sometimes that picky part can be protecting you from that, right? There may be a part of you that is afraid to be in an intimate relationship because you don't want to be hurt again. And so this picky part protects you by making sure that no one meets the criteria. And so we'll see where Kirsten is and if she's willing to be a little flexible. I don't see any evidence of that yet, but we shall see. Next, we have Dominique and McKinley. Now, they didn't show much from these two this episode as they focused on the 3 couples that got married. They did show them trying on their dresses and tuxedos to get ready for the big day and talking to their loved ones about it. The thing that did kind of stand out to me a little bit is Dominique saying that she was never a person who thought about getting married, or she has like this part of her that's like a tomboy, and she wasn't a person who was like thinking about wedding dresses and what type of dress to get, but she wanted something that would fit her personality, especially like her very sensual side of her personality. And again we hear about how close her and Mama are. She's like, it's my best friend, I talk to her every day. And so we shall see. Like I seen like even the clips of her meeting McKinley, and I don't know. I don't know if Dominique is really in this for herself, right? And for a long time, if this is just, I'm doing this thing because, hey, who knows, it might work out, but it might not. And I'm okay with that. I'm curious where she is. It seems like there's some torn energy within her, right? And it comes out like, I really like my girls' night out. So we shall see. McKinley is looking for someone, he said, who he can come home to. He has played the field. He's done with that. And he just wants to Netflix and chill with his wife. And so this is where I feel like they may not match each other, as she is still kind of into the party scene, still wants to go out. He wants to come home to relax. Now there can be a balance that can be found, and that's possible. And at the same time, I am still very concerned about that, if that's going to be something that they are going to really come to an agreement with. And from the clips that we're seeing, we don't know if they even get that far. So we shall see. Next, we have Nicole and Chris. So now we're getting to see a little bit more of their personalities. Nicole, we're seeing that she does have a part of her that is very particular, right? And with that being particular, like she uses her words. She's not trying to communicate it, not directly, like she's very direct about what she needs. She even made requests of the production about how they need to shoot her. She talked about her being uncomfortable because she's being shot in the sun. She talked to her mother, very directly about what she does and what she doesn't want in the bridal shop. So like she does have a very strong voice, right? That part of her has been developed. And even her father talked about that before she walked down the aisle. It's like, you're a very strong person. And so a part of me feels like that's where that's coming from. Like there's this very strong voice that she has. It's very vocal. And so we'll see how this plays out in her interactions with Chris. She did also state that during her dating time that there were men that she dated, but no one ever chose to commit to her. And so there is this part of her that is wondering, is asking this big question, what is it about me? Or is it me? Am I the reason why no one wants to commit to me? And so I feel that part is definitely going to show up in her relationship with Chris, because it has that concern. Like, are you going to stay? Are you going to be the one? Do I matter to you? Are you really going to be in this? And it has that big question because its experiences have told it that nobody stays. Everybody leaves. And so we'll see how this part comes up in their relationship. Chris again talked about how he is a hopeless romantic. He is selfless. He puts other people before himself. And in the past, he's been taken advantage of. And so he's putting all of his trust. He's putting all of his trust into the experts to pick the right person for him. And we hear that. Like a lot of the couples are saying, I don't have a good picker. I don't have a good picker. And I think maybe I even want to do a different video like about how sometimes we can pick the same person in our relationships because our parts go where they have work to do. So if there's, let's say Nicole, right? Nicole has this part of her that has this big question. What is it about me that doesn't make people stay? And it has this big question. It really wants to know, and it's trying to protect her in that way. So it's going to go where it has work to do. Okay, it's going to go where it has work to do. It's going to be in a relationship where it has to ask that question, what is it about me? What doesn't make people stay, right? So a more secure relationship, that part might feel unsettled. Like, this person actually cares about me. It may feel like, now what do I do? Now what do I do? So we shall see how these two different personalities do pan out. Nicole's friends urged her to be open about how her husband looks, that, looks may not be perfect in how she wants it. And it really speaks to the part of her that's, particular. And that she's getting married at first sight and just to remain open. And so she's also concerned about her big personality. She is self-aware. So this is also some great stuff, right? So she's self-aware because the truth is we all have parts. We all have parts of us that are protecting ourselves in any relationship. And if we're aware of them, then we can know how to navigate them and how to attend to these parts. It's like I have this part of me that when I get excited, my energy gets big. It gets really big and I don't want to come off too strong. So I normally at 100, I'm going to be at an 80. And Chris is saying that two of his brothers got married, and so now he's feeling the pressure to get married, and it definitely seems like that is maybe one of the reasons why he also signed up for this process. So there's some pressure there. There's some internal pressure. There's a part of him that's saying you're behind. You're not where you should be. Look at your other brothers, they're married. So this part is going to come up and also play a role in this relationship. This part may try to make the relationship work, right? If things aren't going well. It was also funny to see Nicole's mothers, encourage her to get some good night rest on her wedding night, to not jump into things, take things slow. And Nicole reassured her that she doesn't plan to do that, that she wants her husband to feel comfortable when he's meeting her family after the wedding night, and doesn't want him to have that energy of being physically intimate and then now meeting her family. So then we see both of them opening their gifts at the same time. And we see that there's similarities in their train of thought, right? There's definitely some thoughtfulness. There's a part of them that's very intentional and thoughtful about gift giving. And it also seems that gift giving is definitely Chris's love language for sure, as he even talked about it in his vows. But they are giving these gifts, and they're both like crystals and stones, and Nicole is becoming overwhelmed with excitement, right? There's this part of her that's been longing to feel special, and that box has been checked. And it really seems like it's a very young part of her, as she was saying, I'm in love already. I love him. Would it be strange to go down the aisle and hug him and just say I love him, because he has treated me like no one else has ever treated me outside of my family members? And there was this part of her that was always longing to feel special, to get a gift that was thoughtful. And it's really excited. And it is all in with Chris. And Chris hasn't even appeared yet. And so we shall see. We'll see how this excitement, because she talked about this, it seems like what also happens in her excitement, this ball of excitement that she has, there's a part of her that can be maybe a bit impulsive and jump the gun a little bit. We know, because we're seeing that Chris is a nice guy. We see that. But Nicole doesn't know that yet. But this gift is telling her that he is very thoughtful, and he definitely is. He put a lot of thought into the gift, and it is exciting that little one inside of her, and she's already made a decision that he's the one. And so if Chris is tentative at all, I'm curious, if, or even pulls back a little bit, how that little one will do in the relationship, or how it will navigate. So just pulling out the different parts, right, that we're seeing. She has this part of her that's like, right, big personality. She has this strong voice, and she has this little one that is very excited about feeling special for the first time. And this other one that's like, is it me? Is it me that people won't commit? We see these different parts popping up, and they will show up in this relationship, right? Also, we did see that Chris has this very humorous and goofy part of him. He's doing impersonations, interesting impersonations, but he's doing some impersonations of Arnold Schwarzenegger and some other people. And so I said, okay, it looks like maybe their quirky is going to match with her dog puppet show and his impressions. It looks like we may have some compatibility here. So that gave me a little hope for this couple. It really did. I said, this may be something that might work together, depending on if we can balance this strong voice and Chris's like timid, nice voice, right? And so the last thing I want to note, of course, is Nicole's relationship with her father. Completely adorable. He was affirming to her. He built her up, and he supported her along the way. And their connection is just absolutely adorable. So they meet at the altar. There's definitely some chemistry already kind of brewing there. I thought it was very cute that they somehow guessed each other's names. She thought her husband's name was going to be Chris. He thought her name was going to be Nicole. And it really felt easy. Really felt easy, even though they, of course, just met. They're both talkers. They're both overthinkers. Usually a part that is overthinking is thinking over and over again, did I miss something? Did I miss something? And did I miss something? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? Or could also speak to maybe some uncertainty with self, not being confident, double guessing your oneself. And so that will also play, right, a role in this relationship. Chris and Nicole, their energy is just, as they're getting to know each other, you can tell that there is they're both this, their quirky energy is definitely present as they're talking with each other. And they're both they have a part of them that's trying to be on their best behavior. This is their first time meeting, but it's still kind of seeping out a little bit, which is fine. They're going to see it eventually. And Nicole feels like Chris is everything that she's ever wanted. And I'm hoping that maybe her logical part or rational or reasonable part comes in and just slows her down a little bit, so that one, she can't listen to all the parts of her, not just the one that is feeling special, right? Because that's sometimes what happens in relationships. We make a decision with not listening to all of the parts of us, just listening to one part of us, and then we make a decision that isn't very balanced, isn't taking in the full experience of a person or coming from a centered place. Next, we have Gina and Clint. Gina and Clint's friends are very direct. They are very, very direct. I kind of liked Gina's first dress, even though it was very, 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 very simple. I'm not a person who likes very clean things like that, but it really fit her body, and it made her look so beautiful. But her friends I hate it. But they both found a dress and a tux that fit their personality. While they were shopping, Clint was asked, so, are you really ready to be married to the same person, to be committed to this person? Are you really ready for this? And he said, I really like the concept of marriage. And I think it was his father who said, yeah, the concept, but no, the actual reality of marriage. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to commit to that? And sometimes I don't know if that's a fair question to ask. I think it's important to ask someone, ask yourself, am I ready to make a long-term commitment like that? And at the same time, there's also a part of me that says you really aren't prepared to know the reality of marriage until you're in the reality of marriage. But definitely checking in to see if you have the skills and that you know yourself well enough and you're open to commit, right? To commit to someone. That's definitely a place where we can ask that question, are you ready to do this? Commit to one person for the rest of your life. But the reality of marriage, you don't really know. Every relationship is different. And Clint didn't seem very convincing that he loved even the concept of marriage. It seemed like there's some parts of him that are torn. He definitely wants to have someone in his life, but maybe the thought of commitment is I'm not completely sold. Gina stated that she hasn't dated anyone in the last 4 years, and she said her New Year's resolution was to fall in love. So she's making it a priority, and she's put in the valid effort just with getting married at first sight. There's a part of me that's really curious about making that a New Year's resolution, falling in love. I want to know more about that. I want to know more about why that was a New Year's resolution. I know that she was definitely focused on business, focused on building her business and her salon, and that was her focus. It also seemed to be what she poured herself into, according to her, during the after party after her last relationship, she poured herself into her business as to not really, deal with the hurt of the breakup. And so now, since that workaholic part, was protecting her from her feelings, now she's forcing herself to jump back into the deep and forge ahead and deal and tackle her feelings and fall in love. I'm curious how this is going to pan out. If she's going to be open with her feelings, if she's going to be open heart, or if she's going to be open to the communication and the compromise, all that a relationship takes. How open will she be? We'll see. Gina said that she was nervous about awkwardness, and her friend said it's definitely not going to be awkward because she's a very open person. She's always talking to people. That's just like her personality, very bubbly, right? But they did warn her to not make it a job interview, while on the other hand, which was absolutely hilarious, Clint's friends were saying, hey, it's going to be easy. Her getting to know you, it's going to be like a business interview. And I was like, the irony of this is just too much. It's just too much. While Clint also gave us very intimate details about his life. He said 40 years, he's 4 years old, and he's had 65 partners in his life. There's no shame in the number, right? There's no shame. There's no shame in the number 65, right? Because, one, when we hear something like that, right, there's a part of us that may jump to judge or criticize or really look at him like, of course, you're not ready. Like, you're not ready. If you've done that, right, it's like jumping to a conclusion. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to get curious here and think about, I'm curious about what led to that. What led to that? Tell me more about that. We don't know much about any of the cast members yet, but I'm curious, like, were you not emotionally available, not really wanting to have a relationship? Were you using physical intimacy as a way to protect yourself or as a way to feel physically intimate with someone because that's the only type of intimacy that you feel comfortable displaying, right? There's so many things or reasons why that could be. So I'm going to lean into my curiosity there, and I'm even going to ask Clint to do the same, to lean into his curiosity about that. What led to that? What factors came into play? And even how does he feel about that? Because obviously there's a part of him that feels a way about it because he even spoke to it. Gina's brother walks her down the aisle, and we see as she's walking down the aisle, she has like her big personality shows. And I was like, of course, getting curious about what that was about. It didn't seem like something that fit her center, right? It seemed to come from another place. And so I just kind of put my pin there a little bit. And then when I watched the after party, I said, oh, because she said that she didn't really find him physically attractive and there's no like physical chemistry with her and Clint yet. And so there's a part of me that was like, I wonder if she was seeing him when she was walking down the aisle. It's like, oh, I'm not, he's not my cup of tea, but I'm still going to put forth my effort. I don't want to show him that on my face. So I'm just going to be like, I'm excited that I'm getting married, and she just had this big smile, this big joyful energy. She greeted him with a hug, which definitely lined up with what her family said about him, not ever meeting a stranger, that she's always warm and welcoming. She said that she always says hello to everybody in her apartment building, which we'll get to that a little bit later. So that just speaks to her warm, welcoming nature. And she's like that to everyone. And at the same time, there does seem to be a part of her that may be a little reserved with her more intimate feelings. And so we'll see how that plays out, right? Clint is very, very excited about about Gina and how he was looking at her. At first, I was like, is he okay with what he sees? Is he excited? But he was definitely smitten with her, and that kiss. It's almost like if you watch the body language a little bit, Gina was trying to get out of the kiss, and Clint was like, "No, we can still kiss." And he was very welcoming of her dog. Clint does though seem to lead with his humor, like he leads with his humorous part, and this identity as a captain is very much ingrained. Right, everything is about him being a captain and having two ships. Like, that's something that he's very proud of. That's a part of his family, all of his family. He talked about his family having that tradition of being captains and owning boats. So it really is ingrained into his identity. I'm curious if he knows who Clint is outside of that, like outside of being a captain. All right. So we shall see. Their energy definitely seemed to kind of blossom and bud a little bit while they were at the altar, and they learned that they both live in the same apartment building, which is hilarious. And at the after party, she said she kind of knew already, as the production was, she saw them at the building after she had taped, and so she got a little snoopy and found out that they were taping someone in the building as well, and it turned out it was her husband. Also, then what seemed to stand out a little bit for me as well is Clint was a bit reluctant for some reason to talk about his job. It seems like work is not something that maybe Clint is focused on. Like, I'm in tech, yeah, but no, you do adventure, you want to be on my boat. Like, that's the drive. Like, that's his driving force. Fun. Almost like reminds me of Robin Williams' character in Mrs. Doubtfire. Like, very fun guy. But maybe when it comes to like real deal life, whatever. And Gina is very business like. They both have some distance, it seems. As of now, it seems that they both have some distance from their emotions and their tender feelings, and so that will be interesting, how their parts that protect them, the humor or straight to business, and part, and it seems like even maybe analytical part of Gina comes out and interacts with each other. Gina did state at the after party that Clint gave her boating gloves for her gift. So we got some work to do in the gift giving department. And she gave him a very thoughtful gift of engraved glasses, and also some whiskey that had been aging for 16 years, as this is the 16th season. So she gave him some very thoughtful gifts. And so we'll see. I don't know if that was like a last minute gift, or he was like, hey, we're going on a boat, so here's some gloves because you're going to need them. Like, I don't. It's not giving wife to be gift though, Clint. It's not. Okay. And last we have Jasmine and Eris. We see a little bit of their preparation as they are next to get married, and the episode ends with them. But Jasmine wants her husband to be patient and be compassionate. And so we're still getting to know Eris a little bit. He seems to be very also kind of reserved and measured as well. More of like in a cool way. And so I don't know if he has the patience or compassion that Jasmine is really wanting in a husband. We do also see a little bit of Jasmine's particular side as well. As she said, I've worn a lot of gowns because she was a pageant and she wants her wedding dress to feel different. And I have a part of me that says that makes sense. So I don't blame her. Eris said that he's pretty calm. He's pretty calm even though it's getting closer to the wedding day. His friend said, are you going to cry? He's like, oh, I'm definitely not going to cry. He said, well, maybe if she's not attractive, then maybe I'll cry. Physical appearance is important. It truly is. As even Jasmine says, she wants somebody who looks like they know what to do when they go into a gym, right? Even her mom said, just looks like like, no, like it's working out, it's toned. Like she wants someone who is conscious about their health. And so physical attraction is something that's important. It seems like maybe, though, that's something that's really high on Air's list. There was a really touching moment with Jasmine and her mother, as her mother talked about how she was just happy to be there while she was trying on dresses, and she was just diagnosed with breast cancer recently, and she's just grateful to be alive for this moment. And that definitely pulled at my heartstrings, and it was beautiful that she definitely did get to be there and witness it, and Jasmine to have her there. Firstly, as Ayers was trying on his suits, he talked about how he wished that his dad was there. As you know, his dad died when he was very young, and he feels like a void was missing, and there's a part of him that has some insecurities about if he's man enough, right? And there's a part of him that feels like, do I have what it takes, or do I know what to do to be a husband, to be a father? And those parts are going to show up, right? We talked about this. Those parts are going to show up in his relationship with Eris if he has these big questions about himself. His friend did ask him what he's looking forward to from this process the most, and he said making offspring, or engaging in the act that would create offspring. So this is letting us know where Eris' focus is, as a part of him that wants to be physically intimate. And again, that's nothing wrong with that. We want to get curious about why that's the thing that you are looking forward to the most, right? And with a person growing, having someone by my side, we having each other's backs, participating in the act that would bring offspring. So this lets us know, just gives us this lets us know where he is and where his priorities are. And again, how this may play with Jasmine, who is a preacher's kid, who is very focused, and her spirituality is very important to her. And also the thought of getting married and getting a divorce are big things for her, very big things for her because of that. And she says she's going to give 3,000%. I hear her. We only get 100 though. We only get 100. And so because she's saying that she's going to give 3,000%, I'm hearing a part of her that's saying, I'm not going to stop trying. Like, even though things are awry, I'm not going to stop trying. I'm going to keep trying. And because Eris is showing signs that he has some growing to do, there's a part of me that definitely has some concern about that. He did state, though, that he is in therapy, and he's reading some books, and he's getting to know himself. Therapy is great. As a therapist, I'm going to say that therapy is great. And even reading helps expand your mind, helps to open up your mind outside of what you know and your system knows. So information is great. I'm curious about where he is in his healing journey. Therapy, it's a journey. It's a journey. So I'm just, I would like to know more about his therapy journey, but we shall see. So Jasmine, on her wedding day, she says she's excited about this. These experts picking her person because she said her picker is off. She falls in love with potential. Like, oh, he looks like everything's going to work out. I'm going to keep working at this. And, everyone has potential. Everyone has potential. There also needs to be some evidence, right, as well, that potential can grow and manifest, or that potential is already blossoming. We already see it. So there needs to be more. Eris is jokingly waving outside the window, saying goodbye to the streets as he is getting ready for his wedding day. And we have this moment. Where his cousin comes up and says, hey, it's not too late. It's not too late to say we don't need to do this because this doesn't make sense to me. that you're in this situation where you're saying, we'll see. And this is a very big life decision. And he did agree with her. And now he's pausing. Do I feel like potentially the production is making this conversation more than what it really is? There's a part of me that does, because Maps has a lot of evidence that they do that. And at the same time, I do feel like this is important for him to pause and think about, especially in this situation, as I just truly feel like Jasmine is going to jump into the situation with her heart open. And if Eris isn't ready to truly wave bye-bye to the streets, I would rather him make that decision now versus 8 weeks from now, a decision day. So we shall see. Let me know what you think about these 3 weddings that we did see in this episode, and if you feel like Eris is ready. Is Eris ready? Is he ready? Do you feel like Nicole and Chris are going to work out and be a nice balance with each other? Do you feel like it's going to be a little uneven? Do you feel like Shaquille and Kirsten are going to be able to navigate, their differences, or will they clash and butt heads? Will Clint and Gina be open enough for their marriage, and do they have what it takes to be open and be fully committed? Because they both really lack in the area of commitment. For him with other women, and with her business, right? Will they choose to commit? We shall see. Well, if you are still here, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, be cool, be calm, be centered.